something beautiful, even one thing, if you just make one thing in your life beautiful, then you've established a relationship with beauty. And then you can start to expand that relationship with beauty out into the world, like into other elements of your life. And that is so worthwhile. It's just incredibly crazy worthwhile to make it beautiful. 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 And that's an invitation to the divine. To make it beautiful. You have to be daring to do that. To make it beautiful. And that's an invitation to the divine. To make it beautiful. You have to be daring to do that. People are terrified of it. People are terrified of color. They paint their walls beige. They're terrified of art. They buy some mass-produced thing because they don't want anybody laughing at them for their lack of taste. And they would get laughed at because they have no taste. But you have to, well, it's right. Because what do you know, right? You have to develop it. And so you're going to stumble along and make mistakes to begin with. And you're going to show yourself. Because if you buy, oh, I think this is pretty. And, you know, somebody comes over and goes, hey, what's up with you? It's kind of hard on your self-esteem, but it's you're stumbling towards the right. You're stumbling towards the kingdom of God. That's what you're stumbling towards when you try to make an aesthetic decision. Make it beautiful. Aesthetic. 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 That's what you're stumbling towards when you try to put something in your life that's beautiful, and it's unbelievably worthwhile to do that. And you have to steer clear of the frauds and the con artists and all of that, and art is full of that, of course, because it's difficult to distinguish between the real thing.
Maybe a little more volume on the music.
And the fraud, but it's unbelievable.
Test. Looks about right.
It's so valuable, and we're so afraid of it. It's not the only pathway to the divine. Love is one of them, I suppose. But beauty, especially for people who have an affinity for beauty, it's like music. It's one of those things that you can't argue against. You can't even understand. It just hits you. It just hits you. It's like a vision of the potential future. That if we just got our act together and beautified, that's the place that we can inhabit, and that would ennoble us. That's why Jerusalem, the heavenly city, is paved with gemstones. They're crystalline, they emit light. Yeah, it's the proper dwelling place for an enlightened consciousness. Beauty is the proper dwelling place for an enlightened consciousness. We ignore it at our spiritual and economic peril. It's obvious. There's almost nothing more valuable than beauty.
What did I just do? Is X not maximized anymore?
Sleeping Beauty goes to sleep. And the reason she goes to sleep is because he has parents who are quite old. So they're pretty desperate to have a child, like so many people are now. And they only have one child, like so many people do now. They don't want anything to happen to this child, because like, hey, it's America.
Oh, it's
She's the princess. We're not letting anything around her. So they have a big christening party. And they invite everybody, but they don't invite Maleficent. And Maleficent is the terrible mother. She's nature. She's like the thing that goes bump in the night. She's the devil herself, so to speak. She's everything that you don't want your child to encounter. So the king and queen say, well, we just want to invite her to the christening. It's like, good luck with that. That's an Oedipal story. The Oedipal mother is the mother who devours her child by overprotecting her, so that instead of being strengthened by an encounter with the terrible world, they're weakened by too much protection. And then when they're let out into the world, they cannot live. And that's the story of Sleeping Beauty. And they apologize to Maleficent when she first shows up and say, well, you know, they have a bunch of half-witted excuses why they don't invite her. We forgot. It's like, I don't think so. You don't forget something like that. And she kind of makes that point. It's right, the whole horror of life. You don't forget about that when you have a child, that's for sure. You might wish that it would stay at bay, but you do not forget about it. The question is, do you invite it to the party? And the answer is, it bloody well depends how unconscious you want your child to be. And if you want your child to be unconscious, well, then you have the added advantage that maybe they won't leave home. And so you can take advantage of them for the rest of your sad life instead of going off to find something to do for yourself. Of course, you can take revenge on them if they do have any impetus towards courage that you sacrificed yourself 30 years ago and want to stamp out as soon as you see it develop in your child. That's another thing that would be quite pleasant. Be quite pleasant. Be quite pleasant. That's another thing that would be quite pleasant. Be quite pleasant.
Will have to do.
Quite pleasant. So that's what happens in Sleeping Beauty. Yeah, well, none of this is pleasant, and nothing that happens in that story is pleasant. So Sleeping Beauty, she's naive as hell. They put her out in the forest and have her raised by these goody two-shoes fairies. And then the first idiot prince that wanders by, she falls in love with so badly that she has post-traumatic stress disorder when he rides off on his horse. That's what happens. And she goes into the castle and she's all freaked out because she met the love of her life for like 5 minutes. That's when the spinning wheel, that's the wheel of fate, pops up and she pricks her finger. They try to get rid of all the spinning wheels. They try to get rid of all the wheels of fate with their pointed end. But she finds it, pricks her finger, and falls down. Well, she wants to be unconscious. No bloody wonder. She was protected her whole life. She's so damn naive that her first love affair just about kills her. She wants to go to sleep and never wake up. Never wake up. Never wake up. She wants to go to sleep and never wake up. And so that's exactly what happens. And then she has to wait for the prince to come and rescue her. Well, you think, how sexist can you get? That's a boneheaded way of looking at the story, because the prince isn't just a man who's coming to rescue the woman. And the prince also represents a woman's own consciousness. Without that forward-going, courageous consciousness, the woman herself will drift into unconsciousness and terror. All she can do is lay there and sleep, like the sleep of the naive and damned. She has to wake herself up and bring her own consciousness.
Sometimes you get so many shortcuts going that you
into
just
the forefront so that she can survive in the world.
don't know
That's
what you're doing.
What's implicit in this idea is that unless the woman
You've gone
is
too
taken
far.
out of man, so to speak, then she isn't a human
It's
being.
like,
She's just a creature.
what are you doing?
And that's part of what's embedded in this story. So
Especially with a tool like Vim.
Patriarchal. Don't read anything that way.
Where is it? It's down now. Wait. Small.
New age people are very creative, but they can't think critically. But I can think critically. So this is a creative, theoretical enterprise conjoined with the
See if that
capacity
works
to tell
any
the
better.
difference between bad ideas and good ideas. And hopefully, what I'm going to talk to you about are the greatest ideas that humanity has ever produced. There are also ideas that
Yeah,
we
it
don't
doesn't change
understand
color,
well.
so it's not that useful.
And
It's not as disruptive.
whose highest level of formal development we risk forgetting because we're criticizing things that we invented as a species, but that we cannot understand rationally. And we're predisposed to believe that
What was that?
ideas that we can't understand rationally have to be wrong.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's true, but sometimes we're just not smart enough to understand them. So
Question?
what could you do to improve yourself? Well,
Buckle.
the first question might be, why should you even bother improving yourself? And I think the answer to that is
that's
something
right.
like, so you don't suffer any more stupidly than you have to. And maybe so others don't have to either.
Time to
Something
stop.
like that. You know, like there's a real injunction at the bottom of it.
Sorry,
It's not
this is a
some
slow
casual
start.
self-help doctrine. It's that if you don't organize yourself properly, you'll pay for it, and in a big way, and so will the people around you. And you could say, well, I don't care about that, but that's actually not true. You actually do care about that, because if you're in pain, you will care about it. And so you do care about it, even if it's just that negative way, you know. It's very rare that you can find someone who's in excruciating pain who would ever say, well, it would be no better if I was out of this. Pain is one of those things that brings the idea that it would be better if it didn't exist along with it. It's incontrovertible. You get your act together so that there isn't any more stupid pain around you than necessary.
Question?
Well, how would you go about getting your act together? And the answer to that is something like, look around for something that bothers you and see if you can fix it. Fix it. fix it. And see if you can fix it. Buckle, fix it. Fix it. Fix it. And see if you can fix it. So now you think, well, you can do this in a room. It's quite fun.
Yep.
Maybe your bedroom, you can sit there and just sort of meditate on it.
Yep.
If I wanted to spend 10 minutes making this room
Oh yeah,
better,
this is like it. That's what I was.
what would I have to do? But you have to ask yourself that, right? It's not a command. It's like a genuine question.
Question.
And things will pop out in the room. There's a stack of papers over there that's kind of bugging you. And things will pop out in the room. You know that maybe a little order there would be a good thing. And things will pop out in the room. There's some rubbish behind your computer monitor. And things will pop out in the room. The room would be slightly better. It was a little less dusty, and the cables weren't all tangled up the same way. And if you
choking my
allow
internet's
yourself
here.
just to consider the expanse in which you exist at that moment, there'll be all sorts of things that'll pop out in it that you could just fix. And, you know, I might say, well, if you were coming to see me for psychotherapy, this most easiest thing for us to do first would just be to get you to organize your room. You think, well, is that psychotherapy? And the answer is, well, it depends on how you conceive the limits of your being. And I would say, start where you can start. You know, if something announces itself to you, which is a strange way of thinking about it, as in need of repair, that you could repair, then, hey, fix it. You fix 100 things like that, your life will be a lot different. Fix it. Now, I often tell people, too, fix the things you repeat every day. Fix it. Because people tend to think of those as trivial. Fix it. Those probably constitute 50% of your life. And people think, well, they're mundane, I don't need to pay attention to them. It's like, no, that's exactly wrong. The things you do every day, those are the most important things you do. Hands down. So 100 adjustments to your broader domain of being, and there's a lot less rubbish around and a lot fewer traps for you to step into. Traps for you to step into. Traps for you to step into.
Traps for you to step into.
Once you've got your mind and your emotions together, and once you're acting that out, then you can extend what you're willing to consider yourself and start fixing up the things that are a part of your broader extent. Now, just because things announce themselves as in need of repair doesn't mean that it's you right then and there that should repair them. You have to have some humility. You don't walk up to a helicopter that isn't working and just start tinkering away with it. You have to stay within your domain of competence. I like the idea of the room because you can do that at the drop of a hat. Go back to where you live and sit down and think, okay, I'm going to make this place better for half an hour. What should I do? You have to ask, and things will just pop up like mad. And it's partly because your mind is a very strange thing. As soon as you give it an aim, a genuine aim, it'll reconfigure the world in keeping with that aim. Be careful what you aim at. What you aim at determines the way the world manifests itself to you. And so if the world is manifesting itself in a very negative way, one thing to ask is, are you aiming at the right thing? You know, I'm not trying to reduce everybody's problems to an improper aim. People get cut off at the knees for all sorts of reasons. There's a random element to being, that's for sure. And things do happen to people, but it's still a great thing to ask. Be careful what you aim at. 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 When I started working on this problem, or I guess when it started working on me, it was probably really in the mid-80s.
Anyway, hang on a minute.
I found myself suffering from two things. One was a very lengthy sequence of nightmares about nuclear destruction.
Why though?
And they're very affecting dreams. And
Is that not the
associated
font
with
font?
that was a sense of amazement that a dream that was that awful could reflect a reality that could be that awful. And an additional amazement at the fact that despite the production of tens and thousands of weapons of unimaginable destruction, that people could go about their day-to-day lives without acting as if anything fundamental whatsoever had changed. Now, I've never really been able to figure out why that disturbed me so much when it seemed to not disturb most of the people I knew. It doesn't really matter. I probably spent my whole life trying to understand what evil was, and more importantly, what might be done about it. Before you can dare to talk about something like evil, you should do some thinking about what it is that you're talking about. And I don't think you can talk about it at all until you distinguish it from tragedy. The nature of human being is such that it consists of a confrontation with the bounded finite with the unbounded infinite. Those are the bare facts of the matter. The bounded finite with the unbounded infinite. The world of experience as it presents itself to us is literally and not metaphorically complex beyond our capacity to understand. And that means people deal in a real sense on an ongoing basis with the infinite. That fact is the reason why religious experience is essentially endemic to mankind. It's a human universal, and it's not because people believe. Human existence consists of a confrontation between the finite and the infinite, the finite and the infinite, the finite and the infinite. And religious systems merely take that into account.
Come on, you guys.
Now, our finitude
I
in the
already
face of the infinite has some inevitable consequences. Those consequences are essentially the existential conditions of life. The finite is always overwhelmed by the infinite. It has to be, because it can't encapsulate it. And so what that means is that suffering is central to the nature of human existence. Suffering exists as the consequences of our limitations. Every single person who's alive is going to die. And every single person who's alive is going to deal with serious physical illness and mental distress. And so the fact of our finitude is essential to the nature of our being, and we're forced to deal with it on an ongoing basis.
In my home directory.
If you could do absolutely anything you wanted at any point and be anywhere you wanted to be anything you wanted, and if there was nothing that was out of your reach, there would be nothing to do. There's no story, and there's no being, and there's something about being that is a story, and without limitation, there's no story. Humans are vulnerable, and that's tragic. But if tragedy is the price that we pay for existence, then so be it. And so tragedy itself can't be regarded as evil. It's a condition of existence. So earthquakes aren't evil, and cancer isn't evil, and mental illness isn't evil, and predators aren't evil. So earthquakes aren't evil, and cancer isn't evil. Earthquakes aren't evil, and cancer isn't evil, and mental illness isn't evil, and predators aren't evil. They just are part of the way things are.
Looks good.
But there are certain categories of human action that are definitely outside the parameters of mere tragedy, and those are the things we really have to get a handle on. For me, is differentiated from tragedy by its lack of necessity and its voluntarism. Evil is more pernicious than that which is generated by social equality. I think it's actually a form of demonically warped aesthetic. Demonically warped aesthetic. Aesthetic. Demonically warped aesthetic. Demonically warped.
I still haven't put this in the right spot.
The motto on the gates of Auschwitz: work will make you free. That's an aesthetic of evil. To make a joke terrible, terrible, ironic joke. It's instructive to meditate on what sort of imagination would have the arrogance tell such a terrible joke. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And yet I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothed the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you?
Alright,
O ye
starting
of
an
little
official
faith.
Pomodoro.
Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? Those are famous lines. That's sort of Christ the hippie, right? It's like, hey, let it all hang out.
Christ the
That's
hippie.
an old phrase. Do your thing, and everything will come to you.
Let it all hang out.
That's an old phrase.
Do your thing and everything will come to you.
But that's serious not the proper interpretation, because there's a kicker with this, and the kicker is this. For your heavenly Father knows that you have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's a lot different than the hippie thing. That's a lot different than the hippie thing, right? That's a lot different than the hippie thing. That's a lot different than the hippie thing, right? There's a very, very, very interesting idea. It's certainly one of the most profound ideas that I've ever encountered. If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you. If you dare to do the most difficult thing that you can conceptualize, your life will work out better than it will if you do anything else. Well, how are you going to find out if that's true? There's no way you're going to find out whether or not that's true unless you do it. You have to be all in this game. It's like what happens at the beginning of the story of Pinocchio is that Geppetto wishes on a star. So what Geppetto does is align himself with the metaphorical manifestation of the highest good he can conceptualize. He aims at the star. And for him, the star is the possibility that he can take his creation, a puppet whose strings are being pulled by unseen forces, and have it transform into something that's autonomous and real. Well, that's a hell of an ambition. You know, and we're wise enough to put that in a children's movie, but too foolish to understand what it means. It's such an interesting juxtaposition that we can both know that and not know it at the same time. You can go to the movie, you can watch it, and it makes sense. But that doesn't mean that you can go home and think, well, I know what that meant. Well, people are complicated, right? We exist at different levels, and all the levels don't communicate with one another. But the movie is a hypothesis, and the hypothesis is there's no better pathway to self-realization and the ennoblement of being than to posit the highest good that you can conceive of and commit yourself to it. And then you might also ask yourself, this is definitely worth asking,
Changing bitrate.
do you really have anything better to do? And if you don't, why would you do anything else?
That video is just like completely frozen. Whatever, yo. There we go. I'm about to adjust the stream thingy. Bitrate. Still looks frozen. That's weird. YouTube says the bitrate's too low, but OBS says it's got a megasecond. Megabit, not byte. It's the stream thingy. Bitrate. Man. Is View Your Mind killing it? I think View Your Mind is killing the frame rate. Sorry, this is all just troubleshooting. YouTube says the bitrate's too low, but OBS says it's got a megasecond. Megabit, not byte. Come on, Troy. Close that View Your Mind studio. You can do it. He says, perfectly updating video. Sorry, this is all just troubleshooting. Well, I need to be in View Your Mind. Oops, turn it down a little bit. Close that View Your Mind studio. What's that song? I don't know what this is. Right, whatever.
Tomorrow is cast into the oven. Shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? Those are famous lines. That's sort of Christ the hippie, right? It's like, hey, let it all hang out. That's an old phrase. Do your thing, and everything will come to you.
Let it all hang out. That's an old phrase. Do your thing and everything will come to you.
But that's serious not the proper interpretation, because there's a kicker with this, and the kicker is this. For your heavenly Father knows that you have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. That's a lot different than the hippie thing. That's a lot different than the hippie thing, right?
Bucko.
That's a lot different than the hippie thing. That's a lot different than the hippie thing, right? There's a very, very, very interesting idea here. It's certainly one of the most profound ideas that I've ever encountered. If you configure your life so that what you are genuinely doing is aiming at the highest possible good, then the things that you need to survive and to thrive on a day-to-day basis will deliver themselves to you. If you dare to do the most difficult thing that you can conceptualize, your life will work out better than it will if you do anything else.
Oh. I forgot about this.
Well, how are you going to find out if that's true?
Details, screen,
There's no way we're going to find
expiration
out whether or not
date.
that's true unless you do it. You have to be
believe it
all in
does.
this game. It's like what happens at the beginning of the story of Pinocchio is that Geppetto wishes on a star. So what Geppetto does is align himself with the metaphorical manifestation of the highest good he can conceptualize. He aims at the star. And for him, the star is the possibility that he can take his creation,
Yeah.
a puppet, whose strings are being pulled by unseen forces, and have it transform into something that's autonomous and real. Well, that's a hell of an ambition. You know, we're wise enough to put that in a children's movie, but too foolish to understand what it means. It's such an interesting juxtaposition that we can both know that and not know it at the same time. You can go to the movie, you can watch it, and it makes sense. But that doesn't mean that you can go home and think, well, I know what that meant.
Good.
Well, people are complicated, right? We exist at different levels, and all the levels don't communicate with one another. But the movie is a hypothesis, and the hypothesis is there's no better pathway to self-realization and the ennoblement of being
That's weird.
than to posit the highest good that you can conceive of and commit yourself to it. And
Oh,
then you might
no,
also
that's
ask
good.
yourself, and this is definitely worth asking, is do you really have anything better to do?
Renew.
And if you don't, well, why would you do anything else?
So I guess renew should go.
Therefore, take no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof.
I spent a long time trying to figure out what that meant too, because it's another one of those lines that can easily be read as pro-grasshopper and anti-ant. Remember the old fable of the grasshopper and the ant? Maybe not. I'm not going to tell it, but the ant works and the grasshopper fiddles. And the ant has a pretty good time in the winter and the grasshopper dies. This is like a pro-grasshopper line, but it's not. It says something else. It says that if you orient yourself properly and then pay attention to what you do every day, that works. That works. That works.
Bingo.
I actually think that that's in accordance with what we have come to understand about human perception, because what happens is that the world shifts itself around your aim. You're a creature that has an aim. You have to have an aim in order to do something. You're an aiming creature. You look at a point and you move towards it.
Which
It's
means
built
we
right into
need.
you. And so you have an aim. Well, let's say your aim is the highest possible aim. Well, then, so that sets up the world around you. It organizes all of your perceptions. It organizes what you see and you don't see. It organizes your emotions and your motivations. So you organize yourself around that aim. And then what happens is the day manifests itself as a set of challenges and problems. And if you solve them properly, then you stay on the pathway towards that aim. And you can concentrate on the day. And so that way you get to have your cake and eat it too. Because you can point into the distance, the far distance. And you can live in the day. Live in the day. Live in the day. And you can live in the day. That makes every moment of the day supercharged with meaning.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if everything that you're
Gonna
doing
try
every
to
day is related to the highest possible aim that you can
talk about some of
conceptualize,
this stuff.
well, that's the very definition of the meaning that would sustain you in your life. Well, and then the issue is back to Noah. Well, all hell's about to break loose and chaos is coming. It's like when that's happening in your life, you might want to be doing something that you regard
Shortcuts.
as truly worthwhile. Because that's what will keep you
the shortcut.
afloat when everything is flooded. And you don't want to wait until the flood comes to start doing that, because if you're
Yeah,
already
it's
half
that.
built and you don't know how
So-
to captain it, the
So if you're
probability
in
is very high
Chrome, and I think Firefox as well,
that you'll drown.
open last tab is Control Shift Tango, Control Shift T, and you can open up whatever you want.
I'm
Google.
quite enamored of lobsters, as some of you might know. Because I found out,
That's
this
not
just
very
blew me
helpful,
away when I
actually.
found it out.
Try
Just
this.
exactly how much continuity there was in the neurochemistry of human beings and the neurochemistry of animals. It's absolutely staggering. It's the sort of thing that makes the fact of evolution something like self-evident.
But I can't see
Random
that.
mutation and natural selection is the only
Control
way
Shift
you can
T.
solve the
You're right back to
problem
where you were.
of how to deal with an environment that's complex beyond your ability to comprehend. I think what you do is you generate endless variants because God only knows what the hell's going to happen next. Almost all of them die because they're failures, and a couple propagate. And the environment keeps
I
moving
got, like,
around like a giant snake. You never know what it's going to do
Make a
next.
second.
And so the best you can do is say, well, here's 30 things that might work, and 28 of them are going to perish.
Control W will also kill your browser tab.
Lobsters.
Also works in a number of
So these
other
creatures engage
applications.
in dominance disputes. So it really is the toughest lobster that wins. And what's so cool about the lobster is that when a lobster wins, he flexes and gets bigger. So he looks bigger because he's a winner. It's like he's advertising that. The neurochemical system that makes him flex is serotonergic. And you think, well, who cares?
Serotonergic.
I'll tell you what it means. It's the same chemical that's affected by antidepressants in human beings. And so, like, if you're depressed, you're a defeated lobster. Like, you're like this. I'm small. Things are dangerous. I don't want to fight. You give somebody an antidepressant, it's like they stretch, and then they're ready to like take on the world again.
That works.
Well, if you give lobsters who just got defeated in a fight serotonin, then they stretch out and they'll fight again. And
That
we
works.
separated from those creatures on the evolutionary timescale somewhere between 350 and 600 million years ago. And the
That's
damn neurochemistry is the
all
same.
car instances.
And so that's another indication of just how important hierarchies of authority are. Okay, so here's the problem. There's a big problem here. The problem is, it's true. You're oppressed, 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 you're
Favorite
oppressed,
angle.
you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed, you're oppressed. God only knows why. Maybe you're too short, or you're not as beautiful as you could be, or your grandparent was a serf, likely, because almost everybody's great-grandparent was. And you're not as smart as you could be, and you have a sick relative, and you have your own physical problem. Frankly, you're a mess. And you're oppressed in every possible way, including your ancestry and your biology. And the entire sum of human history has conspired to produce victimized you
Frequent visitors.
with all your individual pathological problems. It's like,
Frequent
yes,
visitors.
true. Okay, but the problem is that it
Frequent
is
visitors.
true. And so if you take the oppressed, you have to fractionate them and fractionate them. It's like, you're a woman. Yeah, okay, well, I'm a black woman. Well, I'm a black woman who has 2 children. Well, I'm a black woman who has 2 children, and one of them isn't very healthy. And then, well, I'm a Hispanic woman, and I have a genius son who doesn't have any money so that he can't go to university. And, I had a hell of a time getting across the border. It was really hard on me to get my citizenship. My husband is an alcoholic brute. It's like, well, yeah, that sucks too. And so let's fix all your oppression. Let's fix all your oppression. Let's fix all your oppression. And we'll take every single thing into account, and then we'll fix yours too. We'll take every single thing into account. It's like,
So,
no, you won't. No, you won't.
we functionally have
No, you
temporary
won't.
visitors,
No, you
permanent
won't.
visitors,
Because you can't.
frequent
You can't.
Need a
It's
separate
technically impossible.
invite method first.
First of all, you can't even list all the ways that you're oppressed. Second, how are you going to weight them? Third, who's going to decide? That's the bloody thing. Who's going to decide? Who's going to decide?
Ooh, that's cool.
That's the thing. Well, what's the answer in the West? It's like,
So the
it's
hat,
pretty
we're the
normal.
hat.
Oh, yeah,
Like, oh,
race will never be able
I'm
to solve
fine.
this problem. No
I'm a
one
little
can
warm,
solve it.
maybe.
What are we going to do
And
about
then
that? We're going to
you take it
outsource
off.
it to the marketplace.
You're like,
You're
no,
going to
go.
take your sorry, pathetic
Please,
being,
sir,
and you're
I
going to
want
try to
some more.
offer me something that maybe I want. And I'm going to take my sorry, pathetic being, and I'm going to say, well, all things
Come on, my sorry,
considered,
pathetic being. 15
well, if I
minutes,
can
9
understand it,
seconds.
maybe I could give you this much money, which is actually a promise for that thing.
Oh,
And you've packed all of your damn oppression into the price. And I've
I don't know if I
packed
can
all
do
my
this actually, guys. I have problems with thinking linguistically well. things with words are going off. Let's see. Cassini. That ain't it. Fifth anniversary version. Sithuai album Cassini. Like the, what is it, Saturn probe, is it? So this is music that doesn't have any lyrics in it. There we go. There we go. Come on, man. Get moving. Invites. Can do that. My server's quick. This server is less quick. This isn't even my server. This is... So I'm in my server, and I've split Windows up, and in this server, I tunnel to the other server, and in this server, I tunnel to the other server. Same server. That way I can flip between the screens, because the remote server doesn't have tmux or any kind of terminal multiplexer screen or something. I wonder if screen's installed. Nope. My table info. That's group flags. What I need is... Yeah. If I haven't already mentioned it, this tool here is called View Your Mind. It is a freely available tool. It's mind mapping software. Very useful to get stuff out of your brain and organized. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Improved locations. Let's see. No, forget this. What's the fastest way to get computer route to frequent visitors, fastest route, no toll roads. That is, yeah, that's going to the right place. Yeah. So this is. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, why did I do that? Take this. Hold on. Sink into the revoke. Body. This is a better idea. Oh! Nope, I got it. Don't be like this. Why don't you let me fuzzy find? What's going on? Oh, it's not a revoke. It's an expire. Yep, there it is. Go away. I think I'm okay with this. Active, revoke, brings you back here. Boy! What did I just click? What was that? Was it the right? That was a remove. Oh, I didn't want to put that. No. We'll do that too. And then that one is, wait. That would be, I don't know what that is. I don't care. Expire, revoke, remove. Bingo. Invites. Is that it? Yep. ID, turn name, location. Access level. Which means we need another invitation page. We have access levels already, right? Let's find out. That's not the content. Select stuff from, and by that I mean nothing. There we go. second visitor is 26. So that means we move from here. No. Yeah, whatever. No. Bingo. And from here. This is 2. And there we go. And here. No. Oh, I guess I don't really need this, right? Well. So, 1 visitors. Got this. This is an invite. Send invite. Nope. Is it A? Yeah, there we go. Come on, man. Hey, let me click stuff. It's open source software, it's a little clunky, but more or less works well. Visitors, no. That's temporary visitors. We want these. Woo! Never gets old for now. 6. So they need an access level, and if they get an access level, they're going to need a home page. And the home page is vehicle management, which doesn't exist. Haha. Hey, that'll be the first example. We're good. No, this is good. Just need to be in a place that makes sense. Send every email. We got that. We don't need that. That's done. Actually, was it escape? No. Is it tap alt? X left. Oh no, I'm getting lost in the music. Yeah. Man, I'm just flubbing everything today. There. That's alt. This. So the user is an invite. That means he needs a home page. Oh, could be the first example of the new user. No. New. What was that? What was that? What was that? Space Max. Alright, I got it. Tap control? What on earth does that even mean? That means the visitor has new homepage of vehicle management only. Comma return? Ooh, it is comma return. My brain, man. Return. Yeah. It's time to stop. I'm not sure how much this is even coming through. Nope. Has homepage for vehicle management. Oh, it's moving. What do you think about the Ergodox EZ keyboard? Ah. Okay, this is time for a proper break, actually. So this is fine. It's time to stop! Alright. There we go. Now, where are we? Was it 300 seconds? 700. Break time. Where are you? There you are. Ergodox EZ. EZ. I think it's pre-assembled. Oh yeah, I love the tenting. That's a really cool way to do the tenting. I think it's already assembled. This website is full of chokes. I can't stand this garbage. All this Web 2.0 trash. Graphical calculator. Graphical configurator. I thought it had a graphical calculator on it. Good lord. Oh yeah, that's right. This is an indie thing. Buy now. Tap and hold. What is the firmware? Two-year warranty on every part. 240. $240 for a keyboard. Oh, they accept Bitcoin too. So the TED kit is worth its weight in gold. The wrist rest. Man, get away from wrist rests if you can. Wrist rests encourage this. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, I think you can. Except the stream looks like it's wigging out. I kind of need this actually. Yeah, I can't tell if the stream's running. Not a bad price, I think. Go. Yeah, looks like I'm catching up on this. even sure if you all can hear me. Let's see. Yeah, the stream seems a little bit behind. Maybe even a lot of it behind. Comma return? Ooh, it is comma return. My brain, man. Oh, this one's way behind. This one's current, I think. I think they even have irises on sale now. They were all out for a while. As kits. No, it's a Nyquist. This Keeb, K-E-E-B, which is a shortening. I do not support Keeb. Keeb.io is, dang, they're still sold out. Status, February 25th, currently out of stock. Reordered, restock in early March. Yeah, they just got that restock. Dang. I was recommending people get this. I've been ordering JJ40 parts, which are basically the same thing as the 40% build. So this general layout, let me see what you can see. Do you see what I see? Yeah, there we go. It's a standard 40% layout, but it doesn't have the ergonomics unless... Now, you can run one of these moderately ergonomically if you're doing a sit-down. So if you're... This is an iris, by the way. There we go. The thumb clusters are a little odd, but you can get used to them. It's still better, I think, than the Ergodox. I'm about desk real estate. I know some people don't care, but it makes a difference to me to be able to move these things around. I got like 3 keyboards on this. Might be 4 keyboards on this desk right now. But that's I think that's the exception and not the rule. So you can get something like this to be moderately ergonomic by doing one of these. No, as near as I can tell, you can only do this at a sitting desk. So I'm standing, so I'm gonna. If you get an opportunity to extend your arms like this, now that means you're not using a wrist rest, but you're also, you could use a wrist rest. But the point is you're absorbing the shoulder width in your arms and elbows. So it's not ideal. The further you get from the keyboard, the more your wrists are going to be straight. And if you're not having wrist problems, or you've been typing for your whole life and you haven't had wrist problems, you're probably okay. But if you haven't had anything yet, I wouldn't recommend going, well, I can just run one of these, that's how we go. Because this is just, you're killing it. You're killing your wrists, you're hurting everything. The further away you get, the more your elbows can absorb that, and then the straighter you wind up being. So you can even run a regular keyboard. I mean, I don't like the horizontal stagger on a regular keyboard, which I don't have around. But the further you get from it, you can run it a lot easier and with your wrists straighter. So oh man. So keeping the wrist straight is going to be your best bet. Thanks a lot, Default Project. I wish I worked as much as you think. But straightening your wrists or putting it further away gives you an opportunity to absorb some of that. That also means that you have this, and you're not, if you're not as broad-shouldered, you don't have as big of an issue. I'm pretty broad-shouldered, so that just means that this is my rest. And if you can see my shoulders in this position, so like it's turning into ergonomic keyboard hour. So there's the iris, right? And if you look at my shoulders, just go forward and back and just kind of drop them loose. This is loose. And I can just drop my hands and adjust the keyboard to match where my hands are. There we go. But yeah, these don't have homing bumps. So there we go. And now my shoulders are completely separated. My hands, or my arms rather, are in line with my shoulders. And keyboard's right there. I'm basically at complete rest. And from here I can do lots of stuff. I don't remember if I've updated this from here. It's time to stop. Yeah, I'm talking about keyboards, man, and the kids are up, so I'm not gonna get much further. But let's see. There we go. There you go. So this is very good. The only way you can make this better, the only way you can make this better is by tenting. If you can get it to be tented, and let me see if you can see that too. Yeah, where you raise it up so that you get to probably like a 45-degree angle. It gets difficult to do. There's kits. I bought some craft foam, and I'm gonna build, little triangle wedges and stand things up like this, and see how good I can get that to be. But I kind of cheat with my Signum design, because I get my split in, and since it's not a full split where your shoulders can be completely separated, I take advantage of that by saying, all right, well, if my shoulders are going to be here, then the range of my hands is this, without tucking my shoulders forward, because then your back starts hurting, your neck starts hurting, and you're reaching and you don't realize it. Your shoulders just kill you. So starting that neutral position, and then say, all right, where can I go from here? And from here you can go about like this. And if you've got a split, this is where you should be. You could do something like this. That seems kind of weird, but whatever. But I wound up coming in, and this hands meet. I've got a good area right here, and look what happens. Absorbed. So now I'm at ergonomic neutral. My wrists are straight. My shoulders are back, or rather loose, and I've still got all my keys here. That's part of why the Plico. Uh-oh. Have I been double talking? No, okay, good. Sorry, yeah. I just make sure I wasn't looping audio, because it starts to get feedback. Yeah, so you wind up in this position, and that way you have keyboard and a nice neat package that you can carry around, and it's easy to take from place to place, because I tend to be pretty mobile, and split keyboards. Not sure how much of that got dropped. It was some kind of lag spike or something. So yeah, you kind of work around the ergonomics, and it winds up in a very nice, handy package. Yeah. And you can just carry it around wherever you go. Oh yeah, so the benefits of programming, though, because you've got, once you program this keyboard, you start building. What's going on here? Are you alive? Slow, man, slow. Yeah, I don't know, internet's wigging out a little bit. I don't know how much of this you're catching, but the thing says we're still streaming, so whatever. If you program your keyboards, which you should, you can use something like EZ AVR. Where are you? Which is an excellent, what on earth is that? Alright, Bing. Yeah, I think this, getting a little bit of lag here, and it's killing the frames on my PC. Go figure. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm calling this a stop. That's a Pomodoro. We're fine. Alright, this is saved. I might have to play with that more later. It's chunky. Come on, keyboard. There we go. Still getting the hang of this whole streaming thing. Figuring out how much it hurts my my CPU here. So this is the Signum layout, and you all can't see that at all. So let's change that. Actually, I'm not even sure you'll be able to see it with the compression, but whatever. Here we go. Let's see how this works. There we go. Right. So, this is an example of EZ AVR, and this is the layout I've got on the Signum. And this is obviously it's gridded. Whoop. It's gridded, but this one is, you know, staggered vertically and split and everything. But it allows you to keep everything kind of straight here. So and I'm sure some of you have kept up on the design decisions that go into this layout. But we're like, this is very, very customized at this point to my exact uses. The only thing I might modify on this upper layer is left control. If you use right alt more than you use left control, I would swap them. Just because whichever one you use the most, you want to be using your thumbs wherever possible for any kind of chording. Because when you're holding something down, you're activating muscles in your hand, and you're activating those tunnels in your carpals, or the tunnels that are for your metacarpals. It's not actual, whatever. You know what I mean. If you're holding a key down, you want it to be with the thumb. Otherwise, if you use a finger, then you wind up doing this hand stretch dance thing, and that's not great. But holding it with your thumb is kind of made for it. You can reach, it's more articulated, and you're not like creating conflict in here, because this is a separate tunnel. It's down in the wrist. So holding that down and then moving with your fingers, it works a lot easier. So if you're doing, you know, people do a lot of caps lock to control, and I supported that for a long time, and I used it for a long time, and I stopped because I used control too much, and I realized I was doing this pinky hold, and the pinky hold winds up resulting in stretching, and stretching is what we don't want to do. I can just feel that click. Don't want to do that. So if you use alt more than you use control, put that alt down here. It'll be right next to your thumb. It's very useful. It's very helpful. This is also why I support the grid layout over MIT layout, because you get, I would say you got 2 space bars, but you don't technically have 2 space bars. When you go MIT, you've got one key that represents 2 thumbs. And if you look at your keyboard right now, or a keyboard on your laptop, and hold it up to the light, you'll probably see that there's only shine on one side. Usually it's right side. But some people do hunt and peck, and they'll even hit the space bar. Like Cryosan does this. He hits it with his pointer finger. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's not a huge deal for people. It is a big deal to change something like that if you're a hunt and pecker. But if you're a touch typist, you're only using one thumb, almost always. And if you're not, it's pretty easy to learn. And the benefit of it is you get this function key that sits right under your thumb and completely opens up this keyboard. doing this on a regular keyboard is possible. It's just not recommended. Oh, where are you? Oh, this will do. This is this is a Cherry G83,000. You wind up with your hands up here, and you want a function layer. And if you have a regular keyboard, you can use this Alt. This Alt is usually pretty close, but you wind up doing this weird stretch thing. Woo! You make a shape like this, which is not great either. It's easy to hit it for some things, but if you wind up holding it a lot because you use a lot of macros, which I wound up doing, I mean, this is where I started. I had a regular keyboard. I had a QFR with a frosty flake on it, making it programmable, and I was holding down that left Alt. And when I started doing that, it makes it easier to layer, and it makes it easier to use shortcuts and to help out with getting access to all those keys on it. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about ergonomics and the tool that you're using. Just remember, like, this is a little daunting to a lot of people, because it's like, well, how am I going to learn that? And it'll probably be hard. I didn't have too much trouble adapting. These keys down here were difficult. The ZXCV, because that's where the most deflection occurs from the horizontal stagger. But how long are you going to be typing, man? I mean, like, for the rest of your life, how long are you going to be typing? You're going to be typing another year, 2 years? Are you 80 years old and you're hunting, pecking, and you're fine? Or are you in your 20s or in your 30s and you're rocking and rolling and you're using computers because computers do everything, and you're going to be using computers more and more for the rest of your life anyways? So, like, you can have good ergonomics, save your hands, save your wrists, save pain. God, pain, man. Plan for the future, or be like, it's easy to just chill. And it is easy to chill, but who wants to chill? You can save your ergos, save your wrists, work faster, be cooler, all the hip new kids these days, the kids with their pumped up kits. Better run faster than my 40. Never mind. All right, I gotta get out of here. I'll try and this is probably of value too, maybe more so than the coding, but I hope to be engaging. Bronzelli, no. Where are you? I'm on the wrong layer. Get on my layer, bro. Copy. Sorry, Bronzelli. Broadzelli. It doesn't like that image or link. But I'll catch you next time. I gotta get up and help with the kids. Keep hustling, guys. You gotta hustle to make it happen. Later.